friends. Hello. Hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Today is the day that I ran out of pre-filmed Glowmas material. Whoops. Finally I'm got up to myself. We're halfway through Glowmas though, so I feel like that was a pretty good run of like being pre-filmed, being like ready to go. It's over now, but I was doing well. So today's video is a little bit more of a lazy video just because it's something I need to put up to be able to keep going, but it's also a video I'm very excited to film. One of the things that I've loved being able to do, oh, first of all, the candle of the day today is cereal marshmallow bar. Sounds like it would be kind of weird, and I bought it because it sounded kind of weird, but it smells so good. Not as good as champagne toast, still very good. Bath and Body Works, sponsor me. Speaking of sponsorships, one of my, do you see what I did there? That transition. Things that I absolutely love talking about since starting my YouTube channel is YouTube. I love talking about the behind the scenes, what it's really like to be like a creator, what it's like to be on this platform, like what it all is like, because I feel like I didn't know anything about what it was like before starting. So I feel like it's cool to talk to people who also have no idea and then just like get to spread my knowledge around. So Chris Clemens recently did a video, I think it was called like what it's really like being a YouTuber, and it was based off of a Twitter thing that Chrissy Teigen had done. And right when I saw that video, I'd been thinking like, okay, I want to do a Q&A on something because I love doing Q&As. I love just sitting and talking. It's like my favorite thing to do. And I was like, what can I do? And then I saw that video and I was like, perfect. Let's do being a smaller creator, what it's like being a smaller creator on YouTube. Because I recently just surpassed the 100,000 subscriber milestone. So I wouldn't consider myself like a micro creator anymore. I definitely have like some influence and I'm a little bit bigger. However, I still think I'm like in the grand scheme of YouTube, I'm obviously still a very small creator. So let's just see what you guys asked. I put on Twitter and Instagram to ask me questions about what you wanted to know about being a YouTuber. And let's just kind of see what you guys came up with. I'm really excited to film this. Do you ever get jealous of people who have a faster growing channel than yours? I think that I used to. I think that I used to be, especially when I was like a lot smaller, when I was at like 10,000, or if, I think, you know what, to be perfectly honest, I think you only truly notice that like slump when you're not growing. So like right now I'm like, no, not really, but I'm growing pretty quickly right now. But I think when you hit kind of a wall, which happens, I've said this many times, YouTube's all about like ebbs and flows and kind of like sometimes you're gaining a lot and sometimes you're not gaining at all, and it just like that's kind of how it goes and you just have to ride the waves. Okay, so when I'm growing I'm like, oh, everything's great. I don't really like care too much about that, but I think definitely when I'm not growing and when I am hitting somewhat of a slump and when I am sort of not having any growth, absolutely I compare myself to people, and absolutely it's hard not to. I think especially when I was smaller too, all of my friends and that I was making also had like similar channel sizes, so it was hard not to compare myself to them. And I think we all talked about it, like I think that's pretty common amongst smaller creators. I think once you have a little bit more numbers behind you, it is easier to not compare yourself as much because there's a sense of like achievement almost when you hit a certain milestone. Like there is that kind of sense of like, I've achieved something. But I foresee a time in the future where I start getting really stressed out about like numbers or comparing myself to other people, or I foresee that happening because anytime you're not gaining, you're like, what am I doing wrong and what is this person doing right? That's kind of how it goes. That's definitely, you know, it's a tricky question because at the same time you're happy for people. Like you're never like, oh my God, my competition. Like it's a weird feeling of like being really happy for people and watching them grow, and also low key in the back of your head that like part of you that you hate being like, but you're not growing because you're not as funny as them, you're not as good at them. Like that's always kind of in the back of your head, I think. Do you think being smaller helps with creative freedom due to less pressure? Absolutely. But I kind of hope, because I used to feel that way, but I still feel that way even at 100,000, because I'm like, oh, that's not even, you know, that's small still to me. So I think for me it's like I still have that sort of like creative freedom of like, I can still post a video trying to turn into like a Smurf and like nobody's gonna care. I can still like say whatever I want, and like I feel like the bigger I get, the more people are kind of like, oh, I can't believe you're so honest, and you like name drop people, but I don't really think about it which I think I should maybe start thinking about it, but at the same time I don't want to start thinking about it because then I can't be like completely authentic and honest about things that I'm thinking. And I think that's when I would like not be doing what I want to do anymore. Like, I think the moment I start being worried that like the amount of people subscribe to me, I need to be worried about what I say, like we're gonna run into issues. So I'm trying to really stay in this bubble of like, it doesn't matter, just speak your mind, as long as I possibly can stay in this bubble. Because I like being able to say what I want to say and not be worried about the amount of people that are gonna see the video. Like, if I had known that, if in my brain, if I had known that like 500,000 people were gonna watch my Haley Pham video, or that like 400,000 people were gonna watch my Olivia Jade video, I would have said so many different things in those videos, because that's so many eyes on you. So I just try to not think about it. I try to think about it as like, I'm the only one watching these videos still. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of the mindset I go about. And I think that works out for me, because then I'm able to just say what I want, you know? It's a lot less pressure when you just don't really think about the magnitude of like your voice. But then there's also this other sub pressure of like feeling the magnitude of your voice and like not wanting to say something that is incorrect or misinformation, and not wanting to, you know, spread falsehoods. So I think it's a weird dynamic of like wanting to say whatever I want to say, wanting to speak my mind and speak my opinion, while also not wanting to say anything that's going to be damaging. I think that's like a very fine, you have to understand your influence and understand that your voice is being heard by a lot of people, while also understanding that like you are a person with an opinion and you're just a singular person that wants to speak your mind. That's kind of a weird situation. I can feel myself getting sick while I'm talking. Do you receive a lot of sponsorships as a small YouTuber? I haven't gotten many that I'm like, I haven't really gotten many. I get sponsorship questions a lot. I like get people asking me to do sponsorships a lot, but it's all for like crap that I just like don't really believe in, or I'm pretty like, not that other YouTubers aren't, I'm not trying to be like, oh, look at me, but like I'm pretty picky about what I pick. Like, if I go online and I see any sort of like really bad reviews or bad things happening with that company, I tend to like not do it, just because I would never want to be the person that recommended you get this product and then you get it and it's crap and it's because I recommended it to you. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to do that. I've done one or two, I think I've done one sponsorship that was like a true dedicated sponsorship video, and I really enjoyed the experience. It was really fun. I think companies really want to underpay and undervalue creators, so I'll give like a rate, which I come up with the rate based on, I ask other creators like that are my size what they're charging, and like that's what I come up with my rate, and I give it to them, and then they're like, well, we'll pay you a quarter of that and we want you to make a whole dedicated video and do X, Y, and Z. And it's hard because you're like, well, that's still a lot of money, like that's a pretty large chunk of change, but at the same time, is it worth putting my name under it, endorsing it, going through the effort of making the content, knowing that sponsorships, doing a lot of them, can sometimes make people feel a type of way about you. So I just try to be really picky, but I do get sponsorship opportunities. I'm really waiting for Audible. Like, all I want for Christmas is an Audible sponsorship. That's what my boyfriend asks me every time I get an email. He's like, is it Audible? Have they finally come knocking on your door? Because that's the problem too, is like, get to a point where there's certain brands that you really want to do a sponsorship for, because you like hecka believe, like Bath and Body Works. Like, my friend texted me the other day because my Twitter was blowing up with people buying champagne toast, and he was like, could you just get a Bath and Body Works one already? But it's like, I'm not relevant enough for that. So it becomes this hard kind of line you have to walk of like, there are brands you probably would do sponsorships with, but they're not the ones asking to do sponsorships with you. So what's your advice for anyone trying to start? Just do it. I get this question a lot, and people think there's like mastermind ability to be able to like start a YouTube channel. There's not. Just pick up your phone and start recording yourself and upload it. Your first few videos are gonna suck unless you're like Janelle Eliana or whatever her name is, that girl who lives in a van who's like incredibly successful. Most of the time your first few videos are gonna stink, but nobody's gonna see them, so there's no real pressure to it. Just upload, you know? How do you get used to talking to a camera and not feeling weird if people hear? So I don't really vlog in public. I'm gonna start trying to. That's why I bought this camera, actually. This is my new little baby. I love it. It's funny how like the more I grow on YouTube, the more like tech means so much to me. I don't really vlog in public that much, but also, how do I get comfortable talking to a camera? I talk to myself a lot anyway. I know that sounds really weird, but I do. I talk to myself a lot anyway. Like, when I'm in the car and I'm bored, this is so embarrassing, I don't know if I should admit this, but I have like, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I have like pretend interviews in my head. Like, if somebody were like interviewing me and I like talk on a topic, or like when I used to, before I even made videos, like if I wanted to make a video about something, I would like talk it out in my car first. I still do this for big videos that I like know I need to have an opinion on. I'll like talk through my opinion myself in the car, and I'll like, this is so weird, and I'll have like, so I'll like be talking through my opinion about a situation, and then I'll have like the opposing viewpoint come in and be like, well, what about this? And then I talk myself through that, and I don't know, it's like I'm at a press conference for my opinion. I don't know, but that's how I got comfortable, is just like just knowing that I can talk to myself and like find myself entertaining. I think that was like a huge way of being able to get comfortable talking to a camera, because it is kind of weird, but like if you talk to yourself a lot, it's the same thing. You're just recording it. How many hours does it take to film and edit in a typical week? Love your videos, girl. I used to be like, I was probably working like 25 to 30 hours a week. Glowmas, I've easily been working 45 to 50 hours a week, but the payout for that is a lot higher. So it's like, at least like you're working a lot harder, but you're still getting like a reward for that in both subscribers, you know, engagement, comments, monetarily. So on a normal month where I'm like doing my normal upload schedule, which I try to upload anywhere from like 3 to 5 times a week, depending on how insane school gets, I'll work anywhere from like 20 to like 35 hours a week. But Glowmas has been a lot more intense, hence why I think I'm getting sick. But it's also nice though, because for school, for work, my like job is I'm a student. Like that's what I do full time. I'm a full-time student. And so right now I'm off of school. I ended school the first week of December. So now this is really the only thing I have to do. So it's like my only real commitment is uploading videos every day. So that makes it a little bit easier to balance doing something like Glowmas, because this is something that I can put 100% of my time into. When did you really feel like you became a YouTuber influencer? I don't think I'm an influencer at all. I don't think anyone should be particularly influenced by me unless it's to go register to vote. I think I felt like I was more of a YouTuber, like I could safely say that when I hit like 50,000 subscribers, mostly because I felt like that was a number that was like, it's more, it sucks, but it's more about like what people will deem acceptable. So like when I say like, oh, I hit 50,000 subscribers, people are like, whoa, that's so many people. And it feels more acceptable that you're like putting so much time into it when you have a bigger number behind it. But I think I felt like a YouTuber. I mean, the first time I uploaded a YouTube video, because I was just like, oh, to myself, you know, like I was like, oh, this is like what I'm doing now. I'm gonna do YouTube, you know what I mean? Even if it's just as a hobby, like this is what I'm doing now. What have you learned to not do from big channels that you might have also done if you started when they did? Sponsorships is a huge thing. I'm very, very cautious about who I take affiliate codes from, who I take sponsorships from, who I take PR from. A big thing I don't want to do is, I know the term like sell out is used a lot, but I think that more just means like getting like really money hungry. I just don't want to get money hungry in this whole situation. Like I want to be very thankful for what I do have and what I did gain monetarily from this without having to like use my subscribers as my like cash cow. You know what I mean? That's one thing I learned from watching bigger gurus is like, I don't want to ever be in a position where I rent is dependent on my subscribers buying this with my code. Like that's never something I want. So do you ever get DM'd by bigger influencers saying they love your videos except Shane? Yes, I do get from people I love and respect a lot, and people who are a lot bigger than me have DM'd me and said they really like my content, and I think that's the coolest thing ever. The one that was like really dope was Primic DM'd me. Primic. I love Primic. He DM'd me and was like, love your content, and I was like, freaking out because I freaking love Primic. So that's always cool. That's always like probably a really surreal and cool moment when like people who you love and watch also like love and watch you. It's a dope moment. When do things become monetizable? Theoretically, you can, once you hit 1,000 subscribers and once you get, I believe it's 10,000 minutes of watch time in one calendar year, you can be monetized on YouTube, meaning you can put ads on your videos and you can make money. However, I was in an unfortunate situation where my channel was eligible for monetization via the old YouTube standards, which I believe was like 10,000, I think it was just watch time. It was just based on watch time. I don't even think there was a subscriber milestone you had to hit. It was just you needed to have like 10,000 hours of watch time or 10,000 minutes of watch time or something like that. I hit that with like one of my first few videos. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna get monetized, like, and then they changed it and I was still eligible with those new standards. I had that watch time and I had the subscriber account, but because I got in right when they were changing all of that, my application for monetization took about 8 months to process. I want to put that into perspective. The normal time for your application to take is 1 week. So my channel took 8 months to process. It was 8 months before I started making any money on YouTube. I think I was at like 5,000 subscribers before I actually was able to get approved for the thing, even though technically I should have been approved like 8 months prior. And the only thing that sucked about that was just going on Social Blade and seeing the money I could have been making and getting like really sad at the money I wasn't making, basically. Like that was the only thing that sucked about it. So after that happened, after I was about 5,000, I think things started getting, so I was able to make money at that point, but I think my first check was like, I think I can say this, but I think my first check was for like $130 or something like that, which was nuts. Could not believe it. I remember when we surpassed the $100 mark, I was like freaking out, because that's insane to me. But so that was my first check, and then slowly they've gotten bigger and bigger. I think the first time I was able to be like, okay, like this is an income that like a person could comfortably live off of was after I hit around like 40,000 subscribers. I became truly monetizable in the sense that I was making good money. And that was pretty recently. That was like earlier this year. So I put in about almost 2 years of like work before it became monetizable in the sense that like this could be a serious thing. I think just because you can make money doesn't mean you're going to make a ton of money right off the bat. And it also is dependent on a lot of factors like your CPM and how much you upload. Like I was definitely making more than some other people my size because I was uploading a ton, and things like that. So I think it depends on how often you upload, how many mid-rolls you put in. I try to keep it to 2 just because I think that's a reasonable number of mid-rolls. And sometimes for longer videos, I'll do like 3, but it depends on mid-rolls you put in. It depends on your CPM. CPM is the number of dollars you'll make based on how many 1,000 monetizable views you've had. So how many 1,000 people watched an ad. So that number fluctuates a ton based on time of year, like how much advertisers are willing to pay, things like that. So it's dependent on a lot of factors. I think there's a lot of things that smaller creators can do to make themselves more monetizable from the start. So like, you know, you can start selling merch, you can do Patreon, you can do, you know, anything you really want to do. There are ways to like make yourself more monetizable, but I didn't find I made like a true income level money until I was at like 35 to 40,000. And again, that's because I was uploading a ton. I think it's different for everyone. How much PR do you get? This is a really good question. I actually don't get that much PR. I know I'm on Midas's PR list and I'm on Kaleidos's PR list. And I recently got added to CoverGirl's PR list, which was nutty. I couldn't believe that one, but I recently got added to their PR list, which was really cool. But I don't really get added to tons of PR lists. When I was doing Octoly, I was getting pretty consistent PR, but Octoly kind of started sucking in the sense that they just never had products I wanted to review. And I just was being, because the thing with Octoly is if you get the product, you absolutely have to do a review within the time frame that they want you to do it. So it sucked because even if I hated a product, I had to go on camera and be like, I hate this product, don't buy it. And that's not beneficial to anyone except you guys. You know, I hate this random like pure product that you probably weren't gonna buy anyway. So I realized I didn't really like doing that. So I stopped doing Octoly. I deleted my account with them. Pretty much just stopped with that. So that was kind of PR that I was getting pretty consistently that I just was like, I don't need this anymore. I don't want this. Was really helpful when I was first starting YouTube, but now I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I get random, I mean, brands will randomly reach out to me to send me PR. I weirdly get a lot of like lifestyle PR, and those are the things I usually like accept, and then I'll do a video with them like organically, try to integrate it in my channel. So I don't get a ton of PR. I think people think that like I get like crazy amounts. I really don't. I don't really get a lot of PR from people, which I actually kind of prefer because then I can just be really honest and not have any ties to any brands. It's kind of nice to not have any sort of affiliation. I don't know if like Too Faced or Tarte, not that they, or like Anastasia, not that they ever would because I've trash talked them so much, but I think even if they offered it, I probably wouldn't want to do it just because I'd rather be able to just like be honest. That's no shade to people who take that PR, like not at all. I feel like for me, it's like harder to be unbiased if I got sent something for free, even though I try to be, because I almost feel like I either have to be too harsh if I don't like it because I have to prove that I'm not being biased, or I have to be too nice because I liked it, but I want to like, you know what I mean? It just makes things complicated. So I honestly like kind of prefer not getting as much PR. Is there a point you feel like your platform would be too big? Yeah. I don't know what that point is, but I feel like it's crazy because for so long this whole past year, especially the past couple months, it was like, you got to get to 100,000. You're going to hit it. Like you're about to hit 100,000. Like you got to keep working to try to hit 100,000 by the end of the year. And then I hit it. And then I came to this overwhelming realization of like, oh my God, it could get bigger than this. And that's a scary realization to come to. So I think, yeah, there's definitely a point where things are gonna get too big and I'm gonna just leave the internet forever. It's a little scary to think about. Do you ever get worried about cursing or saying certain things in videos because of your professional life? Absolutely. That's why I try not to curse on my channel. I do sometimes when I feel very passionately, but I try very hard not to curse on my channel. And I also try very hard to just like not say anything. I definitely create with the fact that I'm going to be going into a professional field in mind. Let's say that. How much do you think about numbers, views, subscriber counts, etc.? I think about them a healthy amount for what I should be. I think analytics are very important to YouTube. I think being aware of your analytics and knowing, you know, what people are more interested in watching, you know, all those things. Like for me, I know people like to watch the commentary videos a lot more, and I know people enjoy those videos a lot more. They get the most views, like people really enjoy them. However, I've also noticed because of my analytics that people really enjoy videos where I talk about like makeup in a more broad sense, not just like, I love this eyeshadow palette. People like the Fall of Anastasia Beverly Hills video got a lot of views and it was a longer watch time. People were really interested in that topic. And I think I did one people really like where I talk about like makeup marketing and makeup scams and, you know, things like that. So I've incorporated those videos a little bit more because I know people like them. But I also think at the same time, I like doing Talktorial Tuesdays. Like I know they're like my least viewed, you know, content, but I still get over 10% engagement on those videos, which is kind of like the standard you want to be at is 10% engagement. So if you have 1,000 subscribers and you're getting 100, you know, views a video, that's 10% engagement, and that would be considered really good. For me, I still get over 10% engagement on those videos, so I keep making them because I like them and they're fun. And even though they're not my most profitable videos, they're not the ones you guys like run to go watch, it's still a video that I like putting out and producing. So I think there's a fine line of like, and the thing is, now that I know a little bit more about analytics, I can know how a video is gonna do. Like I could predict how many views roughly a video like this is gonna get. It's gonna be like a mid-tier video. It's not gonna be a most watched, but it's not gonna be a least watched. So I can kind of predict on the scale of where videos like this are going to fall. And I think just being able to predict those things and know those things is helpful as a creator because you can, number one, manage your expectations. So you're not putting out a video hoping it's gonna get like 1 million views and then it doesn't. And you can also kind of like pick and choose where you wanna be. I think there are people that really care about wanting every single video to be like their most watched video and keep topping themselves. I'm pretty much of the opinion that like out of every video I put out, one of them has to be like the worst video I've put out of the last 10 videos. So I'd rather it be a video I enjoy making than one I like hated making and put out anyway just to try to get views. Does that make sense? So I think numbers matter, but like I try not to let them overwhelm the situation, you know? What is the most impactful comment you have ever received? Any comment where you guys tell me you registered to vote as a result of my little spiel at the end of all my videos is so heartwarming. It really warms my heart to know that I got people to register to vote, even if it's like 10 people. It's like the best feeling in the world to know that I did that. There was one comment in particular that always, I think I've talked about it before, but it still sticks out to me so heavily, was a girl basically telling me that as a result of me talking about school and college and my experience and how I didn't know what I was doing, but then I still went back anyway, even after I left school for a few years, and how I tried to like pursue a higher education. Basically her telling me that because she watched my videos and saw that, she decided what she was gonna do. She decided to go back to school, and she really thanked me for like helping her navigate that. And I think that's really the only thing you could hope for having a YouTube channel like mine, where I just talk about my life and like talk about things, is that by you talking about something, it helps positively impact other people. By you sharing your experiences, it helps someone else's. I get those comments a lot when I talk about mental health stuff too, or like addiction stuff. I got one today actually that just like really stood out to me. It was on my video I posted yesterday, and that should tell you how I'm filming this video right now. But she said, I mentioned in that video how I went to rehab, and she was like, I wouldn't have ever thought you would have gone to rehab. She was like, you just seem so together and like you have your life together. And she's like, you've been an inspiration to me for having your life, like you're so organized. And she was like, but to know that you've been through things and that you've been through some hard times makes me feel like I can go through hard times and still, I'm gonna cry. Why am I gonna cry? That's just really sweet. Like to know, she was basically like, to know that you can go through hard times and you can still come out and be like this organized, great person makes me feel like I can go through hard times and come out on the other end and like be the person I want to be. And that's just like a really awesome feeling to get comments like that, to know that like I can share my hard times and be like, but I'm still here. Like I'm still doing it. And to know that that helps other people is really, really amazing. Is there fighting / cattiness within small creator groups? That's a great question. In the circle I run in, not really. Maybe there's been a few times where like shade has been thrown and we're kind of like, wait, what? But not like cattiness necessarily, more just like sometimes like somebody in the community will throw some shade. We're all like, where did that even come from? Like, why would you do that? But not like cattiness or like, we're not like Lele Pons trying to sabotage our friends, like more just chilling, you know? We all just hang out. We're all just a lot of the circles that I run in, it's just people just like wanting to be friends with other people who like makeup, and that's like the best thing ever. So have you figured out the tax implications? This is a great question, and if you're a creator and you're making any sort of money on YouTube, please make sure you figure out taxes, because YouTube doesn't take out your taxes and you need to figure that out. I actually last year I didn't make enough money to pay taxes on. This year I did, and so I had to find a tax person, and I'm gonna owe a very large sum of money in January, which sucks, but I like paying taxes because it helps my state and it helps fund programs that I believe in. So I'm okay with paying my taxes. But make sure you know, if you don't understand it, because I don't, make sure you at least know someone who understands it, so that way they can help you like navigate it. Because YouTube taxes and creator taxes are actually really complicated, because I'm getting money from a lot of different sources. So I have like my merch that I sell, that is taxed money. Any sponsorships I do, taxed money. Any like collabs I do, taxed money. Any like AdSense, that's all money that has to be taxed. So when you're getting money from a bunch of different places, but also I have a ton of write-offs that I can do, because this channel, because I'm making that amount of money, is technically a business. So a lot of the stuff like the new camera I bought, that's a tax write-off, because I bought it for my business. If I buy new lighting, bought it for my business. My computer last year was a tax write-off because I bought it for the business. So having somebody who can know those types of stipulations and understand how to help you, you know, still pay your taxes, but also save money where you're allowed to, I think is really cool. So I hired somebody to help me this year because I have no idea what I'm doing. Do you get salty knowing how much larger creators are making comparing AdSense? Yes, but not because I think they're making more money. I get salty because I know how much I make. And so at this level where I'm at, I know how much I make. And so knowing based on views how much the people at the top make, knowing how much they make, and then seeing them still do things like the join feature on their channel where their subscribers are paying them money, or doing really shady brand deals, when I know how much money they make and I know they don't need more money, yeah, then I get sus about those people, because I'm like, I know that you're making bank and you're gonna sit there and I just, that type of thing, like, it definitely annoys me when people do that. Because I'm like, if AdSense isn't enough for you, like, you gotta rethink. A lot of you guys ask questions about money, and I hope people don't feel weird about me talking about it, because I know sometimes people feel like it's like braggy. It's really just like, I think it's interesting to a lot of people how much YouTubers make. How significant is the difference between your early AdSense money and now? Very, very significant difference. Okay, we're moving on to Twitter, because I got some very good Twitter questions. Let's see. How do you collab with other YouTubers? Who contacts who? What's the process? So for all of my Glowmas collabs, I reached out to every single person that I was doing a Glowmas collab with and asked them. And I just sent a DM basically being like, I think the one biggest pet peeve I have though is if you're gonna reach out to somebody and ask for a collab, please, you have the idea. Like when I reached out to everyone, I tried to have some type of idea for them of what we were gonna do. I hate when people reach out and then they're like, oh, but I have no idea what we're doing. Cause then it's just like, you know, I feel like you have to reach out with somebody with the intent of having an idea that you think would be really cool. Like when I reached out to Christy, I was like, I want to hear you do more commentary videos. So I think it would be cool if we did a commentary style video. When I reached out to some of the other people I reached out to, like Michelle, I was like, I want to do a video talking about overpriced high-end makeup. I think you would be a great person to do that with. Angelica, same thing with like the Indie Makeup Awards. Like I knew that she's like the indie makeup queen, so I wanted to do a video like that with her. So I think you just have to have sort of an intent behind the collab, not just like, oh, I just want to cross promote. Like I think it's more fun when you have like ideas specifically catered to that person. How was it learning how to edit, learning how to film, the technical aspect? How was it learning to edit? A little bit of a difficult process at first, but once you kind of figured it out, it became a lot easier. I invested pretty early on into my channel. Looking back, I thought that was like the peak of my channel when I hit like 10,000 subscribers, but I invested in Final Cut Pro, and I invested in an editing computer. I bought this big computer that's you can't see, but it's right in front of me. It's in the back of all of my videos. I bought that specifically for the purpose of being able to edit my videos a lot better. So I did invest in editing software to help make my life a little bit easier. A lot of editing is just Googling. Like, I wanted to figure out how to get that funny, like distorted look on your face, like make your head bulge out. And I just had to Google it. And then there were answers. If you have a style of editing that you want to show or whatever, you just got to Google it. And Google is a very helpful resource. So now I feel like I'm pretty good at editing. There's still some times where I have to sort of research and look into how to do a certain effect that I want to do. Also, my videos are pretty basic editing wise. Like I do a lot of just like jump cuts and like silly effects. Like they're pretty basic. I'm not editing like crazy intense. And I also think the hardest part for me was figuring out how to actually use like a memory. I know that sounds silly, but like how to use a memory card and like how you transfer a memory card onto your computer, how you like get the footage off of the camera onto the computer in order to be able to edit it. That was a whole process when I got my very first camera. I got my very first camera for Christmas when I was at like 2,000 subs. My parents bought it for me, bless them. And figuring out how to use a memory card, I actually had to buy like this little memory card reader because my Mac, I didn't even know this was a thing, but I had to buy like a memory card reader. The guy at the Apple store convinced me to buy this one, way overpriced. You can get much cheaper ones on Amazon. But I had to buy like a memory card reader. I had to like buy all this stuff to like figure out how to like do all of that. So that aspect sucked, learning how to do it. It was very annoying. But and when I bought this new camera, there was definitely a learning curve. And like this new camera, still a learning curve, trying to figure this one out completely. But once you learn those things, it's easy, you know? So you just kind of have to put forward a little bit of effort in the beginning. And then once you know them, it's very easy to keep going. Would you be comfortable with millions of followers and being recognized absolutely everywhere you go? Or would you rather stay smaller? I don't know. I think the thing about growth is that it becomes kind of like a new normal. So I think hitting the milestone I just hit, it sort of became like, this is the new normal. It's weird how quickly you become normalized to things. So I don't know how I would feel, but I think not being able to go places without being recognized would be weird. Only because like, I look like crap all the time. Like when I leave my home, I'm wearing sweats like 100% of the time. I don't really like to like dress up or whatever. Yeah. And my biggest fear is like, what if I'm like bickering with my boyfriend in public and somebody's like, oh my god, it's Smokeyglow, and I'm like fighting with my boyfriend, or like sometimes I'll be just like super anxious and like having a panic attack. And so the idea of me having a panic attack and somebody coming up and recognizing my YouTube channel is like horrifying to me. Just the fact that I might be like mid panic attack and then also have to be like Smokeyglow, like that's kind of weird to me. So I don't know if anybody ever gets like comfortable with the idea of that though, because it's like such a thing you can't really conceptualize until it starts happening. So I don't know. Have you ever felt like someone was using you to gain a following? Not anyone that I'm close with. I think I've gotten DMs from people that very obviously just like want to collab because they want the numbers that would come with that collab, and I just don't really converse with that. I'm just like it. But with my friends and like my core group of people that I have on here, no, I've never felt like any of them were like clout chasing with me, you know what I mean? If you could collab with any YouTuber, who would it be? I would love to be on Philip DeFranco's podcast. That would be the dream. I would love, that's never gonna happen, but I love his podcast, A Conversation With. I think he does it so well. I love the format of it, and I love how well informed he is on the people he's interviewing, so he can ask like really good questions. I think that would be like an I made it moment if that ever happened. It's not going to, but I think that would be cool. Tara, shady. Tara said, how do you feel about bigger channels trying to take credit for your growth and success? Tara says, Tara asks the shadiest questions. I love her though. Tara's been like an OG subscriber. I freaking love her. How do I feel about that? I don't know. Weird. I very obviously disagree. I think a lot of people, and Shane has never tried to take credit for my success, but I think a lot of people think that because, like I saw on Twitter somebody say this, they were basically like, you know, the Shane Dawson shout out was the reason she grew so quickly. And I didn't gain as much from that as people think I did, which I think a lot of people assumed that you would, but like I didn't really gain. I gained, you know, a lot, but like not, and I was more really just thankful that somebody of his you know, size was noticing me and seeing my work, which was really cool. But I don't think I gained like sub-wise. I could go through my analytics and show you the because it's kind of cool because YouTube and your analytics will show you if somebody subscribed based on that video that they watched. So I could kind of go through and show you my kind of bigger videos this year, how many subscribers I organically gained by posting those videos. So I don't agree with the notion that like anybody necessarily like made my channel. I do think people helped me along the way. Angelica, Jen Loves Reviews, Raw Beauty Christie, like all of them sharing my platform with their platform was definitely a help and definitely helped me gain. But if you look at the course of my channel, I post incredibly consistently. I post a ton of content. I cover a broad range of topics, and I think the combination of that plus the shout outs I've gotten has been what's made my channel grow. I don't think it's like one particular thing or person that's made it grow. I think it also feels kind of weird because it's like, I know how hard I've worked and I know the like blood, sweat, and tears I've put in, like literal blood, sweat, and tears that I have, not blood, but you know what I mean, that I've put into my channel. It definitely is like a thing that I am very proud of, and I'm happy that I have accomplished myself for the most part. Do you buy makeup more based on wanting it, or what'll work best for your channel get more views? That's a great question. I buy most of my makeup based on what I want and what I think is interesting. However, there are certain palettes that I definitely bought more because I knew that people would be interested in my opinion on them. So like the Manny MUA Moonspell palette I bought because I knew people were really interested in that palette. The Tati Beauty palette, while I thought it was pretty, I have to like a palette and also know that people are gonna wanna watch a review on it. So it's not one or the other necessarily, but I definitely like knew buying the Tati palette that like people would watch that review, you know? Have you changed since growing your channel? I think I've changed in the sense that when I started my channel, I was, I think 21, and now I'm 24. So I think in the sense of like, I've grown up a lot. I also think I've changed in the sense that when I started my channel, I was just starting back at college, and now I'm about to finish my degree. So I think I've learned a lot of knowledge in the past couple of years that have definitely changed my viewpoint on things. Definitely become more like socially conscious and socially aware than I used to be. I think those are positive things. I don't know if my channel itself has changed me as a person. I'm trying to think. I wonder what my friends would say. I think of like what my friends would say, and I don't think they'd think that I've changed a ton other than I've just gotten, if anything, I've gotten like less annoying as a person, but I think that's just like personal growth. I don't think that has anything to do with my YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't think I've really changed much unless you're talking about like in my actual life, but my YouTube channel, I think the only thing about my YouTube channel is I've gotten better at editing. I think I've gotten more confident in my videos. I'm a lot more relaxed and confident than I used to be, and I'm not really trying to be anyone else. I'm just trying to do me. Like when I first started my channel, I definitely like imitated what I saw bigger beauty gurus doing because I was like, well, it works for them. And then once I stopped doing that, I saw true growth in my channel. So I think I've become more confident and more myself. I also think I'm funnier. My humor is just growing drastically every year. What keeps you grounded? Honestly, my boyfriend, 100% Charles, keeps me so incredibly grounded. He truly, like, he does not let me get caught up in YouTube stuff. He's the first person to remind me that like, this is not my life. This is not my only thing that I have going on, that I have like a life outside of all of this. Because sometimes when you're in it, it's so hard to realize that like you have things going on outside of it. He's the first person to remind me of that. He's the first person to, if I start getting too ahead of myself with it, he's like, just enjoy what you have right now, enjoy the growth that you've had now. You know, I was upset the other day because I was like, it's weird when you grow because your idea of how many views you should be getting definitely gets skewed in the sense of like now 40,000 viewed video, like 40,000 views is now considered like a lower viewed video on my channel, which is nuts. Nuts when you think about it, because that's still 40,000 people. And so I was like, you know, these videos are only hitting like 30,000-40,000, like that's not good, like I should be getting better views. And he was like, do you hear yourself? He was like, do you hear, because YouTube tells you, they'll tell you like 1 out of 10 out of your last 10 videos which ones sucked and which ones didn't, and what if you're hitting your averages or not. And he basically was like, do you hear yourself? Like this is not a thing that you need to be worrying about. Like you're still getting this crazy amount of interaction, like compared to your subscriber base. It's not like you have 4 million subscribers and you're getting 20,000 views. Like compared to the size that you're at, that's fantastic. So he's the first person to definitely like ground me and bring me back to earth if I start getting like caught up in anything. That's gonna be it for me. I'm sorry this video was like 10 years long. I guess I had a lot more to say than I thought, but I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. I'm honestly just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. My merch, my social media, and everything, I'm wearing my face, which is not a lot because it's a lazy day, will be linked down below, along with a link to register to vote. That's right, you can click on that link, you can register to vote, and you can be a part of your democracy. How cool is that? And also, if you're not from the United States, that link does not apply to you. Please make sure you're staying informed on what's going on in your part of the world, in your country, and wherever you are. Just use your voice in a positive way because the world absolutely needs more of that. I love you guys so, so much, and I will see you tomorrow for an exciting collab. Woo! I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Oh, follow me on TikTok. I'm gonna start posting more.